one-star post game, it's a whole lot of fun. With jokes and recaps once the match is done. From the field to the office, we're ready to go on the one-star post game show.
All right, it is a victory edition of the immediate post game of the One Star Cowboys podcast. I'm Kevin Turner with Kent Garrison. We've actually offered our friends John and Sod to just go ahead and do their duties because it is late. We were recording this early Monday morning, and John and Sod are just now probably getting into the locker room and talk to the players, the coaches, and all that. We will have an episode on Tuesday for you that we will record. Then we'll have the Wednesday episode to get you ready for Cowboys and Lions, which now has a little more intrigue to it as the Dallas Cowboys squeak past the Steelers 20-17. How you feeling, Kent?
KT, what a game. Holy crap. Still coming down from it. The adrenaline's pumping. The Discord's still popping off. Everyone's reacting to it. Shout out to the people, listeners, those of you listening in there that were carrying on our in-game chat. The thing has been really fun every single week. But coming off a joke or two this weekend, KT, I had a heart full of resentment. And the resentment almost turned into a deep depression after this. But Dak put the team on his back. This was a team that needed people to step up. And my first reaction is people stepped up. You know, you had some dudes who don't normally make big plays for you, making big plays for you. And that's what you needed.
No, absolutely. And we'll have a discussion on Tuesday about the Discord because I do think there's something fishy going on with the picks and predictions. Whether or not we owe anyone money or not, we absolutely do. But someone has edited their response, and I don't know if it's clear when they edited their response. We have multiple people that picked it. But the Dawn is on our watch list. That doesn't matter though. Right now, let's go ahead and cover the game. Look, I did think the Cowboys, without their star players, I thought there was a bit of tenacity there on defense. There's some things there that you can look at and go, all right, that's fine. The Steelers are absolutely, going to be one of the worst offenses in football this year. But I did think there was something there, man. The Cowboys had a lot of dumb things happen, turnovers and penalties, and that's going to make you mad. But the Cowboys absolutely played better than the Steelers kind of all night long. And I look at that and go, well, that's good. As opposed to coming in here almost after every other game and being like, oh no,
Yeah. Well, listen, at the end of the day, it's a win. 20-17. It was not pretty. We had some doubts there at the end, probably sink in with the way Dak was playing. But he's had experiences in these moments, and it looked like his experience really paid off in that moment. I don't know. Let's focus on the good, KT.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of good to take from this, despite some negative that we could probably get into, that we would have definitely gotten into had maybe one pass gone a little different at the end, but it didn't. Hold on. I'm just the last play just popped up on NFL Jesus, and it's like 9 lines long for the lateral play at the end. So I'm just
is it crazy?
It's hilarious to look at it.
Oh, that was a fun one.
Yeah, absolutely. But Jalen Tolbert, man, little redemption there at the end.
Yeah, I was wondering how bad he was hurt because he clearly couldn't run that play. And then McCarthy takes his final timeout because, of course, you do. It's 4th and goal. Like there was no reason to rush it. And it was clear Tolbert was not going to be able to run a play. So good job of getting that timeout called. Then they go out there. Then Mike Tomlin burns his last timeout. And you realize that with 25 seconds left, this is the only play that matters tonight. And first of all, the protection, because Dak got hit a ton tonight. I don't know how many times yet. And I'm scouring the box score and looking for some of those things that are probably just going to come out a little later. Dak, he's only sacked twice, but he got hit a ton tonight. 6 hits, I think. Was under pressure a lot.
The pic that went out on Cowboys Twitter it was a pic from like the Skycam view of the game, and the entire offensive line was squeaky clean, and Dak's jersey was just covered in mud. And
yeah. No, terrible, right? And look, the offensive line, how many times have we seen one injury on the offensive line and the whole thing falls apart? Pretty good, man, for TJ Bass to come in there. And yes, there was a penalty that he had. And yes, Brock Hoffman, who had to come in when Zach Martin had cramps. Tyler Smith slides out the left tackle because Tyler Guyton got hurt. It sounded like Tyler Guyton was okay and could have started in the second half, at least what I was seeing. And that's something I'm sure John and Saad will clean up for us on Tuesday. But I think Tyler Guyton could have gone back out there. But the offensive line kept together. We ran the ball effectively for the first time all year. 20 carries for 87 yards for Rico Dowdle. That's, not world beating or anything. It's still, as a team, average 3.5 yards a carry, like not good. But so did the Steelers, 3.5 yards a carry. And I think that was like an important thing to see Rico Dowdle make a play in the end zone. Now, the fumble at the end could have been very costly. Good awareness by Dak to jump on that. But that is one of the most that whole sequence is insane because the Cowboys put together a big 15-play drive to go down there. And at some point you are kind of thinking like, well, you don't need to hurry. Like you just have to score on this drive. There's really no reason for this game to go on anymore. Like you need to run the clock out and score. The screen pass to Hunter Lipke was huge to get down inside the 5. And then first down, Dak's running towards the pylon and that got close. And he
I
gets hit.
Flashbacks to Jeff Heath and Derek Carr in that moment. He extended that ball across the goal line.
All thinking it, right? Like
yes.
I had to have been. And then second down, it's like, okay, let's just try to get this thing done. And Landon Roberts just takes off flying like a helicopter in the sky and crashes into
crazy.
Rico Dowdle. That was
I've never seen anything like that.
That was very, like the LeVar Arrington play from Penn State many years ago. Yeah. I mean, that was, sports movie type of clip.
Yeah, he did the full send YOLO jump over the line. If that doesn't land and he scores on that, does he ever hear the end of it in the film room the next day?
Well, Collinsworth said something on the TV broadcast. He said, like, you saw him doing that in practice. And like, first of all, that seems very dangerous.
That's his whole bit for the Steelers is just, I fly at guys in midair and hope to pop the ball out.
I was kind of thinking, like, watch this become a trend in the NFL. Like, everyone's kind of got a designated crazy guy to just come in and throw their body.
I don't know if it was because of the weather and the wet conditions, but it felt like this was an above average, let's punch the ball out game.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Yeah. I mean, oh gosh, so many teams are just doing this. Like they're just going for the punch. Like we're seeing that so often. That happened 4 or 5 times today. Just watching football, a lot of good punching the ball out. But yeah, it's a little slick and things like that. But like, so it's like the Cowboys stopped the run. They also stopped the pass. I was looking at this: George Pickens 3 catches, Van Jefferson 3 catches, Pat Freiermuth 3 catches. I mean, that's it. They only completed 16 passes, 150 yards passing on the day. You never once felt like a guy. Well, there was one play that you thought a guy was running wide open, and that was Hayward, the tight end, and Fields kind of overthrew him for a minute. But like the defense was good. And we haven't been able to say that yet this year. I don't even think we gave the defense full credit in that New York Giants game where they had 15 points.
Not only are you saying that, but you're saying it about a defense that did not have Micah Parsons or DeMarcus Lawrence and lost Marshawn Nealon. So basically in the first half of this one.
Boy, the Marshawn Nealon thing was interesting. I went back and watched that play a couple times and I was just like, well, it didn't look bad. And I don't know, man. We'll see if the sports doctors get on that. And, by the time we talk to Saad and John on Tuesday, I was watching that and kind of going, man, that was like the non-contact injury or it's an ankle. I hope it's not bad because they really do need him. And look, this Lions game next week is gonna be tough without these guys. But dude, to come out and play like they did after that delay too, like really good. Like they were hitting the hard in the first half. Yeah. You really noticed. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. Like I said, at the end, Jalen Tolbert too. I mean, what a story. It's a guy that no one wrote him off completely, but like highly maligned first year. And then comes out tonight, 7 catches for 87 yards. The Steelers clearly made it a point to say we're taking CeeDee Lamb out of this game. And I thought the Cowboys did a good job. Like they had a long week, and I was not in the mood for any McCarthy excuses like he had last week. Well, the pre-snap motion, well, it's a short week, we're not doing much. Dude, long week here, and the offense did look a little different. Still too many tight window throws, still not enough creativity and things like that you want to see. But it was better, and they did adjust. Getting Turpin involved early helps take, the heat off CeeDee Lamb, because when teams can just double team CeeDee Lamb all game long and no one else does anything, it's too easy. And I thought they did a good job of getting other people involved when the Steelers fully adjusted to, we're taking CD out of the game.
What is it about that? Why isn't CD ever active in the second half of these games?
I do.
It's wild, man.
Well, part of me thinks it's too simple to say, well, teams are just taking him away because there's no one else. Because like you do have to cover open.
It's going to happen every week.
Yeah, right. And this is okay. This is why I am personally have been pounding the drum on, if Davante Adams really is gettable, I don't want to hear about the salary cap, because the NFC is gettable. The NFC is maybe never been this more wide open. And maybe we say that every year, the division, all that stuff, whatever. But like where we are right now, the NFC is gettable. And I don't really like hearing things like, well, we just can't make the money. No, there's ways to make the money work. Davante Adams' guaranteed money is off the books next couple of years. You would have a couple of years of eating a little bit of dead money, but there are ways to do this where you're not really giving up much. Our good friend, he works over at the Pro Football Network, Dalton Miller, was talking about something that was interesting to me. He was like, dude, next year's draft is not that great. If you were going to trade some draft picks from next year, it'd be the time to do it. And it's early, and there's always players you'll find and things like that. There's nuance to these discussions, but like I am in go mode, even with how disappointing this team has looked through 5 weeks. They're 3-2. They did what they had to do tonight, which is no matter what, no matter how it looked, win, because you can get to the bye week, potentially getting Micah and Ron Bland back, and then look at yourself and go, okay, we got 11 games to go do this thing, and we're either 3-3 or we're 4-2. I don't think any of us are going to be picking the Cowboys to beat the Lions next week, but you've opened the doors to some cool stuff now, just because you were tough and got that game. Because a lot of times you could have let that game go, like, oh my God, we're outplaying them, but we just can't score, and a turnover here and a turnover there. And I mean, it's the worst Dak has played for 3 quarters, but that last drive, he totally redeemed himself, just like Lloyd Christmas.
He did. And, that's why I picked the Cowboys. I think it does come down to the quarterbacks. You saw the experience in the end. Dak was able to put up 352 yards in this crappy ass weather, and Justin Fields threw for 130 yards against a defense that had basically none of their pieces. And so you got to take that into consideration. I loved Jalen Tolbert at the end. You got to look at Turpin though, and say, if you feed him, like by actually throwing him the ball, he's pretty useful. It seems like that we've been using him on jet sweeps. Oh, let's throw him short little screens, things like that. Get him out in space. He's a good receiver, man. And he can get wide open. I think they mentioned it on the broadcast. Collinsworth was talking to him in the production meeting, and they said he's the one guy none of the DBs want to guard in practice, because he can just break your ankles. He's small, quick. He can catch. He's pretty dangerous. He stepped up tonight. But you look at the rest of the division, and Washington, the trajectory they're on, New York with what they did today, Philadelphia is certainly not going to be easy. So when you think about Davante Adams, if Dallas feels like, hey, we're 80% of where we feel like we need to be a Super Bowl champion, you try and get that extra 20% if you can. But honestly, Jalen Tolbert's performance tonight, the fact that, as you mentioned, CD was taken out of the game and they were able to overcome it, makes me feel a little bit better about not having Davante Adams.
Yeah, no, and this is like a thing where, too, it's like, the offense, we'll get it figured out. It's the team, like, just the quality of NFL football today compared to the month of September was just like, okay, preseason's over now. Right. And that's what I was kind of hoping, like, we'd see a little bit more out of Mike McCarthy. We'll give Mike McCarthy credit. I really like how he managed a lot of the clock right there, and it ended up working out in his favor. But if the Cowboys punched it in on first down right there, well, there's 50 seconds left because he didn't run the clock. But like, those are things we can all play that game or whatever. He dialed up a good play on fourth down, double crossers. I love that. And also on that play, TJ Bass needs to get a lot of credit because TJ Watt is coming in with a pass rush move, and it's the spin move, and TJ Bass absolutely handles him. And that's where you get to a point. No, I'm sorry. That's on the left side of the line. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the other pass rusher. I'm watching this play again, Ken, if you can't tell, because I'm excited about it. Okay, yeah. So TJ Watt's coming off the edge. Ferguson chipped him. Tolbert came across and had to avoid traffic and goes under the goal line. So he's at the 1 yard line, which is not, and gets back on path where he needs to be. Point is, Dak had time on that last play, makeshift offensive line. They get it done. Tolbert makes the catch. And Dak knows these things. Like those are some really bad things that happen in the red zone too. The interception before the half is the worst one. In games like this where 3 points are huge, the fumble clearly, but I don't know. It's not all his fault. He was holding it for a long time though. Like, yeah, even he got hit a lot. Like, I don't know. This is kind of what you're paying for though, right?
Yep.
It's nut cutting time.
This moment.
Let's go.
Yep. Nut cutting time. Shout out Jason Garrett on the call tonight. You needed Dak to step up. I was not ready for another week of why did we pay this guy who can't get it done in the fourth quarter against Justin Fields? That type of discourse. I'm sick of it. I'm glad things went the way they did. I need your reaction though to a couple things in this game that are kind of trending right after the game.
Yeah.
One of them, Jordan Lewis, and the little pushing and shoving match. Right as we're breaking here, as we record this, he came off the field just now and said, quote, "Pittsburgh needs a receiver. George Pickens is weak."
Amazing.
As he's walking to the locker room. Shout out Monty Belt for that quote.
Isn't that wonderful? First of all, Jordan Lewis is awesome. I think we all know that, right? But like, it is interesting because Pittsburgh, one of the teams seen as I think we could put them in as a finalist for Devontae Adams, probably in the next week.
Yep.
I still have to think that he ends up with the Jets just because of the chaos going on up there. But the Steelers are one of the teams.
Steelers and Ravens would be the teams I'd watch. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially after that Edgar Allan Poe tweet or the Instagram post that he put out the other day. No, I love that. And I think that's great. And also the only way that Brandon Aubrey misses is if you block it.
Yep.
I mean, a 55-yarder, I know he missed last week, but we all know for him, we're going to call that garbage time, and we're going to blame that on the MetLife field. We all know it sucks. I'm really happy about that game. Not getting the win, but really, I did not want to live in this world where you were talking about, well, we got Detroit next week, 2-4, and then bye week. And then you get the 49ers after that, 2-5. Not the 49ers. The 49ers lost to Arizona today. And like what you said, Seattle, stuck it to the Giants. The Giants stuck it to Seattle, today. And some of these things, like these teams are still figuring it out. And that's where I think you have a little bit of hope in the Cowboys. I do think they need more help on offense. And, we've talked about the defense a lot, but it's like here's how you patch up the defense by being able to do this. The Cowboys have shown multiple times. They did this tonight. They had a couple really long drives. That last drive was a 15 play drive. The the drive where Rico ends up scoring on the touchdown pass, was at the early of the fourth quarter. That play started middle of the third quarter. That was a 16 play, 90-yard drive. You look at some of these games where the Cowboys have lost even. The Saints game, that first drive, the Cowboys had a 15-play drive. That second drive, they had a 16-play drive. And they settled for field goals and things like that. The Cowboys have shown they can establish some really long drives multiple times in a lot of these games. And I think that's how you can patch up the defense a little bit by just having one more threat out there. And I don't care if it's Amari Cooper, and I don't care. We all know it's probably not going to be Devontae Adams. Clearly, we've all heard stuff on that, and it's probably just not happening, it seems like. But dude, if the Panthers get tired of Deontay Johnson, just something that will help, and letting Turpin play, things like that.
So you're set on a receiver, not a running back.
I am, because I do think Rico can do this.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying this after night. I feel like I've said that from the beginning. But if if running back comes available, I'm good on that. But I don't see them doing that, right? Especially with Dalvin Cook just kind of sitting there waiting.
I see them as what's the best piece we can get on offense for the budget we're willing to spend. Receiver, or running back,
which is nothing, right? They're probably willing to spend nothing.
I don't know about that.
The hard part. I don't know either.
I don't know about it. It depends on who you're trading for, what you're trading for, contract wise, all that type of stuff comes into play. When the trade deadline comes around, you kind of have to work with what the other team already worked out, which can sometimes be what holds things up. So I don't know. I want your thoughts also, KT, speaking of the offense, on the little, spat disagreement between Dak and CeeDee there on the sideline for what they showed. What was your interpretation of that?
I think that's just still trying to get where they need to be. I don't think it's anything more than that. I think that's also just how those guys, I think that might just be their relationship.
They're just competitive. Yeah.
Yeah. And because if you go to, we always go back to the Green Bay game, it seems like, right, in the playoffs of last year. And that was made into a big deal. And maybe it wasn't as big of a deal as we thought it was. I really don't know, right? Obviously we had the CeeDee thing a couple weeks ago. I mean, the Cowboys came out on the first drive, made it a point to get CeeDee the ball. CeeDee got, I think, what'd you say? Was it one catch in the second half, I think?
Yeah.
But 5 for 62. Clearly, you want to get in the ball more. He had 9 targets. This is where I just kind of think, if Dak can't throw it to CeeDee every time, I was just watching some of these routes, especially at the end of that last drive, and it's like, okay, they've got guys on CeeDee Lamb. He's not open, so Dak can't throw him the ball there. So I don't know, man. I still kind of am going to lean towards it's nothing there, but if we get closer to November and we're still kind of having these little spats, I'll be a little concerned, because
it has to be an agreement on whose fault it was. If it's CeeDee's fault and he said that's on me, and they both agree, that was on you, then great. If it's Dak's fault and Zach says that's on me, and they both agree it's on Dak, then that's great. But what you don't want is him saying that's on you. No, it's on you. And them not ever agreeing to there. I would love for Dak to compare the number one receivers he's played with between Dez and Amari and CeeDee, and just their demands, working with them, chemistry, all those questions. I would be very fascinated to hear his thoughts. I don't think he would comment on it or anything, but
no, he wouldn't. But
I just always wonder about that. The relationship between the quarterback and the guy that got the contract, that has to get the targets, that whole dynamic.
I mean, when you look at that interception, I need to see, what was happening on the other side of the field or in the middle of the field. But that interception right before the half, I mean, it's just, that looked like a classic case of a guy just trying to feed his guy.
It looked like he expected CeeDee to take a hard cut towards the pylon, and that didn't happen.
Yeah,
he just kind of stopped there.
But you looked at it and it's like, okay, well, if he stopped, and there's also a thought too that they were rushing, that Dak thought it was a free play. They thought they had someone offsides too.
Yeah,
I saw someone throwing that out there on Twitter. I don't know if that's true or not, but either way, man, they got another week to get that right.
What a win!
15 points you gave up to the Giants. You give up 17 points to the Steelers. That's what you do, right? These are teams who are not very good offenses. You keep them under 20 points. That's absolutely wonderful. Now, don't go give up 40 to the Lions. We don't have to worry about that tonight. We can talk. We'll talk Tuesday in depth, get the thoughts that Sod and John had as they were there live in Pittsburgh, the delay, everything that went into that, what happened after the game. Maybe there is something to the CeeDee Lamb Dak thing. I don't know. We'll talk to them about that on Tuesday. We'll have the preview episode on Wednesday, getting you ready for the Detroit Lions. And I would say the season just got its first espresso shot.
Hey.
You just need a little bit, just kind of give you a little more juice now, because a loss tonight would have been devastating.
You think so? I was thinking that. I don't think it would have been devastating because of how depleted they are.
I think they had a written in excuse, I guess, but I just think, I think that, like it or not, this team is going to have to show me that they can handle a top flight offense so far. And Detroit and San Francisco are that. And, you'd have a bye week mixed in there and all that stuff. So that's where I kind of just, it is so easy to look at this thing and go, well, gee whiz, they're going to be 2-5, if you lost. Right. And to get that game is so helpful, especially in this conference where I do not believe in the Vikings personally. I just don't. And I don't.
That's a Packer fan in you talking.
It is a little bit, and they went up 28-0 on my guys last week, but the Packers actually came out and tried to play in the second half, and then I saw the downfall of Sam Darnold. I saw how you could get him, and the Jets gave it to him a little bit today. You saw him kind of fall apart a little bit today. The Jets are a mess, man. Boy, Aaron Rodgers looks very unhappy. I was thinking about this. You'll like this. This is not for tonight. Trust me. We're too half baked tonight to do this, I would imagine. It's just a little too late, but I've been working on my quarterback pop star comps. And I do think that Aaron Rodgers is like the Kanye West of his time.
I like that comparison.
Just pop stars. I haven't done this with rock bands or anything, just pop stars.
Who's the P. Diddy of the NFL?
Okay, so I left P. Diddy out. I thought about it though.
We don't have to go there. Save that for the.
Well, Deshaun Watson would have been my.
There you go.
But I still have I ended up putting Drake there just because Drake's not very liked right now. But I thought about it, and I could probably move Drake to someone else.
Hey, great tease. Great tease. Great tease, because I have a pop star themed game show for later in the week.
Oh my God, this is outstanding.
Debut on the One Star Cowboys podcast. So get excited.
I'm having trouble with what to do with Geno Smith and Andy Dalton. And dude, I erased my Dak too. So we can figure that later in the week. We need John's thoughts on this too. Oh, absolutely. I think those guys will know enough about these, pop stars, things like that. Who's the Olivia Rodrigo?
Had the most current pop star list of our favorite songs episode we did a couple years back. So
who's the Dua Lipa of the NFL? We're going to tell you later in the week. All right, Kent, we did it. Thanks everyone for listening to us. And sorry that John and Sod couldn't be there. We want to let those guys do their job, and so they're not at the stadium at 3 a.m. I mean, it is legit 1:30, and they're really probably not going to get to their hotel room.
They literally have better things to do than talk to KT and I. So
and like it will be. The sun might be coming up by the time they get to their hotel room. Seriously, because of that delay. So late night for those guys. So we'll catch up with those guys on Tuesday, get their thoughts. Wednesday, we'll get the preview episode out and John's recap episode, all that good stuff. Make sure you follow along on the Discord as well.
Looks like you guys owe LKC Light some money here.
I think so too. The Don is picked it first, but he edited his
No way
response.
to confirm. Yep, no way to confirm.
Yeah.
But LKC Light on 4:04 p.m. on the 5th, he predicted 2017 Cowboys.
All right, so someone's getting $74 total. That is why we do this. All right, Kent, thank you very much for staying up with me and doing this. Thank you to everyone for listening. Whenever you're getting this, probably Monday morning, and we will see you on whenever we get the next episode out. Probably Tuesday night, Tuesday evening, probably something like that for the next episode. So for Kent, and then to our ghost reporters, John and Sod. We'll talk to you later in the week on the One Star Cowboys podcast.
At the One Star Post Game, it's a whole lot of fun with jokes and recaps once the match is done.